What is going on, guys? It is me, DevilNeverCry, and of course I'm back with another DMC related video. Today's video is going to be focusing on the Angelo enemies in particular. Now of course Angelos have been in the series since the beginning in 2001, but now that they are back in DMC5 they are a contemporary subject. So the overall aim of this video is to address what exactly an Angelo is and why are they back. To answer those questions, we must first launch ourselves back 17 years to the series' very beginning.
Let's rock, baby.
We encounter Angelo enemies in DMC1 in the form of Nello Angelo. We also, of course, run into them in DMC4 as the Bianco and Alto Angelos. Now in DMC5 we encounter the Cavaliere Angelo boss as well as the unnamed, untitled Lesser Demon Angelos that were showcased in the Dante TGS demo. Now for quite a while we didn't exactly know what Angelos were, we just assumed that they were just standard demons. However, now that we've got some new information pertaining to these enemies, things start to come together nicely. Now the first and most important thing that we need to know about Angelo enemies is the fact that they are not sentient demons. All they are shells or husks. And of course, looking at gameplay and whatnot, it doesn't really make much sense. However, let me put things together for you. Devil May Cry 1's first novel, which is set before the events of the Devil May Cry PS2 game, has Dante and Vergil face off. Of course, at this point Vergil is in his Gilbert attire and persona, so he's not quite the same. However, during this fight, we see Vergil don the Nello Angelo armor at will, and it has to be noted that at this point Vergil is still himself. He's still able to talk to Dante, he's still able to taunt him, he's fully aware and in control of his own actions, which is quite different to the way we see him in the PS2 game. Now looking at the enemy files for Nello Angelo in the first Devil May Cry game, it essentially states the Knight in Dark Armor is well versed in the same art of combat as Dante's. Everything about this knight remains a mystery. Now of course, the enemy file mentions the Dark Armor. Now the armor is clearly important because it augments Vergil's abilities to an extreme level. This is levels of a permanent devil trigger that we're talking about here. In fact, the novel makes a note of the fact that the Force Edge does nothing to the armor, it is essentially stopped, as well as Ebony and Ivory. Skipping ahead in the DMC chronology all the way into DMC4, we encounter Angelos yet again, in two forms to be exact. The Bianco Angelo, which if we take a look at the enemy file, simply states a man-made soldier made from the fragment of a demon known as the Dark Angel. Filled with either a human or demonic soul, it carries out its master's orders with mechanical precision. This idea of it being a shell or a husk is also represented in the gameplay, because when you defeat the Alto or Bianco Angelo enemies, they simply fall apart and you see nothing inside. In fact, the only thing you see is a sort of soul dissipating. The description also alludes to Nello Angelo, which is rather interesting. The DMC4 novels state that the Order sort of ransacked the remains of Nello Angelo's armor and obviously used whatever fragments they could find to create these Alto or Bianco Angelo enemies. They did so by creating these armors and then Agnes getting in there and doing all sorts of demonic nonsense to bind a human or demonic soul to the armor. Now the game also alludes to Mundus doing the exact same thing with Vergil's soul. During the PS3 installation of DMC4, we had access to a synopsis of the series that was created by the developers to catch people up on the games. Now, of course, there was a rather interesting entry point for Nello Angelo. The first made a reference to Vergil's transformed soul. In fact, There is even a second entry point for Nello Angelo that also states, "For within the demon's body rests the soul of Vergil, Dante's vanquished brother, now pawn subject to Mundus's machinations." So far we have this idea of Vergil's soul being corrupted and transformed and then placed into the Angelo armor by Mundus, and that is the Nello Angelo we get in DMC1. The Angelos that we get in DMC4 are kind of rip-off Angelo enemies. They're not exactly the authentic ones that Mundus himself makes. However, now that we have this new information, we come to realize that the Angelo enemies aren't so special. Hideaki Itsuno, the director for DMC5, recently undertook an interview with Famitsu. Now, the interview is obviously in Japanese. That's why I want to give a quick shout out to Sesha from the DMC Discord. He's the one who got this translated for me when I asked about it. Now, Itsuno goes on record to state that the Angelo enemies, these class of demons, are a creation of Mundus. Now, that's pretty big in and of itself. It's a direct reference to DMC1, and it also alludes to Mundus just having sort of an army of these demons just laying around. It reinforces the ideas of the Angelos just not being special, just being a bog standard class of demons. However, it does sort of allude to the idea that the Angelo is only as powerful as whatever is actually powering it. Now, the knockoff Angelos from DMC4 were said to be able to hold human souls. However, the authentic ones that we see in DMC1 and 5 are only powered by beings with demonic blood in them. So we're uncertain if Mundus's creations could actually hold a human. Now, the armors are said to use souls. So in that case, why the hell do we see Trish just fly out of Cavaliere in her naked self? Well, I believe that's due to the fact that demonic beings are seen throughout the series just being able to transform at will quite easily. We see this quite often when we face a boss. They just seem to very easily transform into objects, into devil arms. So potentially the Angelos have some sort of demon technology that simply forces a being to be transformed into a soul. Barring that, there's obviously the shenanigans that the villains can obviously do. They can probably twist, contort and corrupt a being's soul just to force it to fit. So that about wraps it up. That's what I think that an Angelo actually is. Let me know what you guys think. Maybe you guys have your own thoughts and theories. Did I miss something out? Let me know down in the comments below. If you want to get at me personally, we'll leave a link to my Twitter. If you want to hop in the Discord and shoot the shit about DMC, I'll leave a link down to that in the description below. It has been me, DevilNeverCry. I would like to thank you guys for watching, and as always, I'll see you guys next video.